I've been seeing some stuff online recently, mainly TikTok, because that's where everybody posts their kind of like brand call out stories. And these are mainly stories about teenagers that basically doing some real damage to their skin by using skincare. We all know that's a general issue, right? But the other issue here is that they're using affordable skincare, which that's not an issue, but it's the comments when it comes to this issue. I'm saying issue too much. What I'm saying, long story short, is a lot of people are blaming these people and the negative reactions they have to these skincare products because they're using cheap, affordable skincare products. Basically saying, well, what did you expect? You pay for what you get. And I want to tell you why that's not true. But first of all, I want to talk about these stories, what these products are, and the horrible, really nasty things they did to these teenagers' skin. Let's start with the first story. A lot of people will show me this over on TikTok. Kmart has just pulled one of their skincare products after a teenager ended up in hospital after using a cleansing balm. Here's what happened. A 13-year-old girl bought a hyaluronic acid cleansing balm from Kmart, which was on sale for just $2. And before we get into this, I know you all know this, but a lot of the comments I saw didn't know this. When people hear the term acid, they think it's like an AHA or a BHA or a much harsher active, powerful active, I should say. Hyaluronic acid is naturally within our skin. It's a humectant, it hydrates the skin, right? It's not as intense as a chemical exfoliant, for example. Anyway, it was on sale for just $2. She used her own pocket money to buy the cleansing balm, but not long after applying it, to her whole face to take off makeup, she started complaining that her vision was blurry. Now, I feel like we've all used a cleansing balm, right? Where we put it over our eyes and then we've rinsed it away and we're like, everything's a little bit foggy, and that kind of goes after a little bit. But it wasn't just the blurry eyes that were an issue here. She then started to feel a lot of pain. Her mum, Leah Ladson, posted about this over on TikTok and Instagram, I think mainly, where this story really, really blew up. It was basically her holding the product on a green screen of her child in a hospital bed. Like, this looks like a real serious injury. She says in this video that, she used it like an average cleansing balm, which obviously means you're going to use it over your eyes. She does confirm that it's said to avoid contact with the eyes on the label, which sounds a little bit, like, oh, well, that's your own fault then. But listen, I'm actually on the mum's side here. It's a cleansing balm. It's a cleansing balm. It goes all over your face. How are you supposed to keep it completely away from your eyes, especially once you rinse it away, you emulsify, rinse away? Cleansing balms have one job really, and that is to remove sunscreen and makeup, which you put on your eyes. Who makes a cleansing balm that you can't use around the eyes? It doesn't make sense to me. Apparently the pain got so bad that her daughter was actually screaming in pain. Over-the-counter medication didn't help. It didn't take the pain away. It got to a point where she couldn't even open her eyes, and Leah ended up taking her to Bendigo Hospital, sorry. They tried numbing eye drops to take away the pain, other like generic painkillers, hospital level painkillers, but nothing helped. They actually ended up having to give her 2 doses of fentanyl, which is like a super strong painkiller, just so that she can cope with the pain. And all this happened just a day before her 13th birthday. Like, that is crazy. And Leah didn't share the full story right away because at first her daughter actually failed an eye test. Thankfully, a week later she passed, so no lasting damage was done. Still a terrifying experience, but she was like, right, now's the time to share this story. Kmart has now launched an investigation and pulled the product from store shelves while they look into what actually happened here. It's still listed on their website, but they say that they're following both Australian and European safety standards for cosmetics. Kmart also offered Leah a $6 refund, okay, which is the full price of the product, and have asked for that specific cleansing balm back so that they could run a test on it, kind of alluding to the fact that like that wasn't supposed to happen. Like, even the ingredients in here shouldn't really do that to somebody's eye. But understandably, Leah is hesitant. She's worried it might get lost or that the results might come back inconclusive, so now she's thinking about getting it tested independently. Her biggest reason for sharing this story as a parent is, of course, to warn other parents, especially when kids are buying or using their own skincare just on their own, which is, a bit of an epidemic at the moment. But yeah, a cleansing balm that can't be used over the eyes is just craziness to me. Like, it's craziness to me. I managed to find the Inky list of this over on Inky Coder, which is the only ingredient list checker that we should be looking at. And I guess there are a few, sorry, I'm looking here, standout ingredients that could possibly be harmful when in the eye. I mean, everything that doesn't belong in the eye is an irritant, right? I guess petroleum, like, we have to consider like percentages though, and how it's formulated, all that kind of stuff. Petroleum, thick and greasy, can give you that blurry vision, right? Difficult to rinse out, maybe. Mineral oil, again, blurry vision. Maybe hard to rinse out. Phenoxyethanol, which is a preservative, can sting or burn the eyes, especially in higher concentrations. There's an emulsifier in here as well that's not really dangerous, but it can disrupt the film of your eyes and cause irritation. And then a surfactant as well, which can also sting. You get cleanser in your eyes, it stings, right? It happens with any old cleanser. Not all of them, most of them, but it shouldn't have done this, right? It shouldn't have burned this bad to the point where she can open her eyes and have to go to hospital. I have no conclusion to that because I feel like it's going to take a chemist to actually understand what happened here. But I have another weirdly similar story for you. Another mum called Leah and another teenage girl who ran into some skin issues just before her 13th birthday. So Leah, based here in the UK, recently spoke out online after her teenage daughter had a severe skin reaction to a face cleanser that she picked up from Home Bargains, which, if you don't know, if you're in America, is amazing. You go in there and just spend a ton of money, even when you just wanted, like, I don't know, what did I last buy from Home Bargains? Like cleaning supplies? But this teenage girl had such a bad reaction to this cleanser. We're talking the usual, right? The usual. We talk about this way too much. But blistered skin, hospital visits, and as I mentioned, a 13th birthday completely ruined. Here's what happened. Leah, Brooke's mum, bought Brooke a bubble tea watermelon face cleanser from Home Bargains. Now, for those of you who may be confused, there's a brand here called Bubble Tea, which make bubble tea. I don't believe this is related, even though they have a very similar font. And the whole idea behind this brand is that the creators loved bubble tea and wanted to encompass that joy and aesthetic into a skincare line. It doesn't look good, it doesn't look bad. And Brooke was excited to use this. This was her first proper skincare product, and she was just starting to get into like skincare like a lot of teenagers do at that time when they start seeing those changes in their skin. She used it to wash her face after removing her makeup. She used it as her second cleanse, completely normal thing to do. But the next morning her face was burning red, it was swollen, and it was painful to move her mouth, like she couldn't even open it. Over the next few days, things got worse and worse. She started developing blisters on her skin, eventually starting to peel, almost like a really bad sunburn. Her mum ended up taking her to hospital where doctors basically gave her steroid creams to help with the reaction. She also started to miss school because people kept asking her what was wrong with her face. Like, it was getting so bad, she was getting picked on, and people were like, what the fuck is going on? And just like our first story, all this happened just 1 week before her 13th birthday. Her mum said it felt like the end of the world for her. And honestly, for like a 13-year-old, I think it would have been felt like the end of the world for me too. It took weeks and weeks for her to fully heal. And even after that, there were still faint marks left around her mouth area, under her eyes. And since then, Brooke's been pretty traumatized by the experience. She doesn't really want to use skincare products again, which is a shame because, that really is the age where you need to start learning what's going on with your skin. You start to break out, you start to get, produce more oils. So it's a good time to get a grasp of what skincare is going to work for you and what's not. Now, here's the part that really frustrated a lot of people. Leah said that she did contact Bubble Tea Cosmetics through email and even reached out on TikTok, but she was completely ignored. She didn't hear anything back, and it wasn't until she started commenting on several of their videos across social media that the brand finally responded. I mean, that's shit, isn't it? That's really bad customer service, especially when a child's been hurt. Now, the company's response on social media said that their products are safe for all to use, but speculated that there may have been something wrong with that particular product and advised her to do patch testing in the future. But the mum claims that there was no warning on the bottle, telling her to patch test, and felt really angry after the reply. A spokesperson from Home Bargains said, naturally, we are sorry to learn of our customers' experience and distress they have suffered, and we take the safety of our customers extremely seriously. They say upon investigation, we have no reports logged with our customer support team that match this incident, but we would be happy to work with the customer if they got in touch. So yes, always patch test your products. We know that. I'm very guilty of not doing that. I just don't, which is really bad. I do feel like I have a grasp of what's good for me and what isn't, but really that's not good enough. You should patch test everything, especially if you are just starting getting into skincare and you don't really know how your skin's going to respond or how it takes to certain things, But for the brand to put all the responsibility on the mother and the child and be like, you should have patch tested this, I think that's a really shitty thing to do. It's not just about replying to comments when things go viral to cover your back. It's just about good customer service, And I was trying to look for the ingredient list of this product, but I couldn't even find this product listed on anything until I found multiple listings for this product on Home Bargains, almost on eBay, sorry, almost like this was like a Home Bargains exclusive or something. Like you just can't get it. So I couldn't find an ingredient list, to be honest with you, but I do just presume it's a run-of-the-mill, generic, affordable cleanser. Might have niacinamide in it from what I could see. Your very basic surfactants, you know, it's a basic cleanser. So as I mentioned at the start of this video, the comments on these articles and online are always like, what did you expect from using such cheap shit, etc, etc. As we know, cheap skincare isn't the problem. The issue is obviously how your skin reacts to certain ingredients regardless of the price tag. Affordable skincare brands still have to follow cosmetic safety regulations. They're not out here selling dangerous shit just for funsies. In fact, many of these budget-friendly brands use the exact same active ingredients that you'll find in high-end formulas. And we'll talk about ingredients in a minute, because yeah, you can get cheaper ingredients, but what matters more than the price is formulation and how your individual skin responds to it, as we know. You know, even luxury skincare brands have their bad cases, their reactions. You can go look at reviews for like an £80 moisturizer and you'll still find people saying that it gave them rashes, redness, blisters, breakouts, made their skin worse, etc. Price doesn't guarantee safety or effectiveness. It guarantees a certain experience, packaging, texture, scent, but not results. And obviously this kind of affordable skincare is essential for accessibility. Not everybody can or even wants to spend £40 on a cleanser or whatever. Saying you get what you pay for when someone has a bad reaction just pushes the idea that the good skincare is only for the wealthy. And that's just not true. We know that. We also need to remember how these big companies are able to sell such affordable skincare in the first place. And it's not because their ingredients are cheap. It's because they can afford to bulk buy. It comes down to scale, efficiency, and smart formulation, not necessarily cutting corners or using bad ingredients. First, mass production. Big companies like Unilever, Procter & Gamble, L'Oreal, they're manufacturing millions of units at a time. When you produce at that scale, the cost per unit drops dramatically. They're buying ingredients in bulk, they own their own factories, their own staff, they've streamlined their process. That gives them a huge cost advantage over smaller or indie brands. Second is ingredient sourcing, and these brands usually use tried and true tested ingredients, but they also have, again, the money, the budget to do their own testing, to come up with their own new stuff, cutting out any of like the middleman, cutting costs. And then of course, packaging and marketing. I mean, just look at the quality of the packaging of these more affordable products. It's not great, it's not bad. Affordable brands often use simple packaging, basic plastic bottles, no fancy pumps or heavy glass jars. It does the job it needs to do, and it's cheaper to produce and ship. Plus, when a company already has shelf space in every drugstore or supermarket, they don't need a massive Instagram campaign to sell product. That saves even more money. And lastly, they don't have to mark things up as much as other smaller brands do. A luxury brand, for example, might price a moisturizer at £60 for example, because they're selling fewer units and need to make high profit margins. A brand like Simple, Nivea might sell the same moisturizer for £5, knowing that they'll sell millions of units worldwide. So no, affordable skincare isn't cheap because it's bad. It's cheap because these companies have the scale and systems to keep prices low whilst meeting safety and formulation standards. And honestly, some of the best performing products on the market come from brands and products that cost under £10, in my personal experience. Let me know what you think about these stories in the comments down below, and why not tell me your favorite budget product in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time.